Sauce.
Hey, you like Pez?
It looks like that. Here's Heaney from the boundary line. He's an expert at these. From the boundary line!
Hello and welcome to Behind the Boundary podcast. I'm your host Pez. I'm here with Sauce. We are here to do our Cheeky Punt show where we do our bets, and we're here after the first game of footy. Sauce just sat down and watched it. Couldn't record beforehand because of the 7:25 start, but we're recording now. Richmond have just beaten Carlton by 25 points.
Yeah, hey guys, welcome to 2021, and round one is already in the books. And Pez, what a cracking of a round one. We had the debate the other night about whether Carlton versus Richmond should hold that prime time slot. And yes, it did break out to about 30 points, but geez, it was good for 3/4 of the game. Like I predicted, Carlton come out hot, the middle they go, and then last quarter they get belted away.
Well, that's the thing. And so for the listeners today as well, Sauce, if they were expecting our bet slip yesterday, it didn't happen because we've got our new
no chance.
New segment. We're going. We've actually got more information now, so we put our bets on and things. At Behind the Bound Sauce, we put our bets for the Richmond and Carlton game before the game. So you can have a look at that, check that, follow along at Behind the Bound on Twitter, exclusive to Twitter for all you Instagram and Facebook followers. And we both had a win to start off, so that's a really positive start for the
in the positive already. I just might not bet for the rest of the year. In the positive, that's what we like to see. Nothing unusual for both of us, Pez, for the last 4 years. Every year as a collective, and me personally has actually ended up in the green all 4 years. Pez, you missed out that very first year, but you've been in the green ever since.
Never missed out, mate.
Yeah, always, missed that first year.
Always up. And remember that one that was up very good with that massive multi where I just skyrocketed it when it paid out in October. Of course it paid out. We always have that argument, but that's all right. Well, what are we here for? Our show is actually going to change a little bit, Sauce, because we're going to do our normal show, which is end-to-end, where we do the line picking and we talk about the game. So if you want to hear more of an analysis, go and listen to that show. This will be purely betting. Okay, so our betting podcast, let's get into our bet slip.
The fact that the size of the bets was relatively small.
Our bets with an opportunity about 50 metres out.
I was with a mate and we were getting sort of ready to leave, and he said, I think I'm going to whack 10 on Maxi. Do you want some as well? And I said,
Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
Oh, I've missed that, Pez. First one of 2021 in the books, and like we always do, let's start off things with the betting specials.
Cyril takes a special and goes bang!
Now, Sauce, I've had enough. I've had enough of the specials.
It's round one, mate. It's round one. We're done.
I've had enough of the specials.
Mate, can I just say, like you pulled this on me before. You do nothing in this podcast. I do all the technical aspects. I do all the media aspects. All you have to do is one job, is collect the specials for the week, and you're like, I've had enough.
I'm the social media manager. I do all the bets.
All right, next time we need an intro, you can make it then.
No, not the intro. You're the media manager.
Well, that's what I just said. I'm the media manager.
Yeah, I'm the social media manager. You're
not very social. Not very social at all.
Not very social when I'm telling people to post their letters to me because they're doing that on Facebook.
You sound like my old man. Post the letter.
Yeah, post it. Post your letters because you're having a go at us. No good. But the round one betting specials, you know what? I'm not going to tell you on the podcast. I'm just going to tweet it. So if you don't follow us on Twitter at Behind the Bound, that's unlucky for you. But we'll tweet it before the first game every round. So I made a little graphic there, and it's out there ready to go.
You're getting lazy. 4 years on, you think you're this king dick. You're getting lazy, Pez.
Look, it's
a little bit unimpressed with it, Pez. I'll be honest.
You can be, but
some people listen just for the specials because all the other betting podcasts that do AFL, they're gone. They're gonski. So there's no more of accusations of us.
It's because we took them all out. Yeah. So we've got no competition. So why would I even need to do that?
Just
we're there's standalone. We're at the top already. What else are we going to do?
We're at the top. Well, speaking of the top, let's speak about the team who is predicted to be up there for the very first game of the year. They are sitting quite comfortably on top after round one, game one. We're talking about the Richmond versus Carlton game. As Pez said, we already had this bet. We are recording after. We're not going to talk about the actual game itself and how it played out. We're going to talk about our bets within that game because we don't want to spoil anything for our round recap, as we always do for our following week.
That's it. So, Sauce, we posted this on Twitter at Behind the Bound. I had Richmond 1-39, which in the end was nearly safe the whole game until Carlton got within 4 points with about 6-7 minutes to go. And then Richmond just went bang, 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 win by 25 points. So very easy one, double in a little bit. It was paying 210, so I staked 20 and get back 42.
Yeah, nice one, Pez. I went with something a little bit different, something that I normally don't dabble in too much, but with the over-unders, and I think this was just too good to be too good to resist. Looking back at the last couple of years, I think it was very obvious that this game was going to hit the overs. The line I went for was 163.5, and that cleared that very easy. Had 25 on it. 2019, the game total was about 189. It was final total was 181. Last year in 2020, the game was 185. Why would the game not be predicted to go over? Like it's crazy to do it,
especially with the extended game time and things like that.
Yep. And it probably could have pumped up more. I had a personal bet of 190.5, and that missed out by 7. But there were 28 points in that game. All right, expect a lot more scoring. We saw a lot more free-flowing football. Round one, before they've already jump on the overs for all the games.
Jeez, mate, a lot of entries from the Tigers there. They could have blown that out. So my 1-39 should probably not have won just watching the game personally for me. But that's the only game that has happened, Source. I've also got Richmond in my multi. Did you have Richmond or Carlton in your multi?
I didn't have either in my multi.
No, so we've got that there.
Still alive.
And we'll continue to go through the rest of the round, Source. We'll head to the Friday night game.
We will. In the Friday night game, we've got the one that that I'm really looking forward to because it's going to be against, I guess, some sort of rivalry the way that the papers have been blowing up to. I am, of course, talking about the Collingwood Magpies playing the Western Bulldogs again at the MCG. 7:50 start, Pez. If it was a 7:50 tonight, we would have made recording on time.
We would have had this out there ready to go.
A little bit pushed for luck in that one. Really interesting, this one. The Collingwood probably started about even now with the news of Steel Sidebottom out. $2.10 they've gone out to the outsiders. $1.77 for the Doggies. You can get the line at -3.5. And the total game points, 165. And I'm only saying that, Pez, because you've got to be all over these this week. Jump all over the overs before the line adjusts.
You're calling it early.
Calling it early.
Ready to go. When will the line adjust? Will it adjust mid-round or after the round?
I think it'll depend what happens tomorrow. And then
punters will jump
the Melbourne Fremantle game is where it'll adjust because the Melbourne Fremantle game is quite low and they are a defensive team versus a team that doesn't score a lot. So if they go over that 163, look for the other games to jump up rapidly.
So, but you would say Collingwood and Bulldogs probably high-scoring teams, high-possession teams that probably would go over. So I'm interested to see where your bet goes. What I've done is I've headed over to Betfair and I've backed the Bulldogs at -3.5. I love that low line. I think the Bulldogs can get it done this year. You remember back to last year's, Source, in round one where Bulldogs were hot favourites. They were ready for top 4. I backed Collingwood in last year and my confidence has swung in a year. Everyone's going, remember what Collingwood did last year? Remember what they did last year? I'm very confident in this. I'm backing the Bulldogs at the line and I love this bet. So I've gone the max 50.
At -3.5?
-3.5.
Yeah, I originally, I love that bet because originally in the week when the lines first came out, as I said, it was even money, $1.90 each way. And I originally put just a small wager on the Doggies to win. But after doing a little bit more research, you've already heard me flog it off, Pez, all over the overs this week. I've gone the overs again for this one. As you said, 2 high-scoring teams. The Doggies can absolutely flood it in. They're going to get a lot of the pill. They're going to get a lot of inside 50s. 165.5 for me is super low considering that we had, a top of the sort of table team and a team tonight vying for the 8, and they pumped it over about 180. So I think that's an easy slim picking. So $1.88, $25 on that one, Pez.
There you go, another 25 ready to win. Now we're going off one game here, Source, but I do think you've got to talk about it, the fatigue factor that sets in that last quarter where Richmond were just able to get centre clearance after centre clearance and go forward. That if that is a trend and it happens, then the game total is just going to sail over the 160 mark in each game. Yeah,
most definitely. And I think it'll be interesting to see, like Richmond, Carlton, Collingwood and Western Bulldogs aren't really defensive-minded teams. I mean, Collingwood can be, but they're still quite an aggressive sort of attacking team. It'll be really interesting seeing that Melbourne Fremantle game about how that, the line sort of plays in terms of running around and that fatigue factor. I'll be interested to see how it goes tomorrow night actually a little bit because Collingwood are a defensive-minded team, but as I said, they do really aggressively play through it, so the fatigue doesn't jump in as much. But interested to see how it pans out because the trend has been already one game in that fast starting. It takes a little bit to get going because that intensity. So you take that first 5 minutes off where it's just the playing back to football, fumbly, a little bit dewy as you would be calling if it was playing in Brisbane. And then they got into the swing of things. And look, the man on the mark rule and this extended, kick-in spot area really opens the game up, and it is very costly. Hence why so many inside 50s on Richmond's behalf.
Going to be a different game source this year, I reckon. Just watching that first one.
That's what I said, mate. That's why you got to be all over the overs. All right, let's stay at the MCG for our Saturday time slot, 1:45. We spoke about on the other podcast about the free-flowing aspect of this, that you can watch all 3 games on the Saturday. So grab a packet of the very packet, get a slab of the very best, sit by your couch and enjoy some of these. And starting off with the entree, Melbourne versus Fremantle. The total points for this one is over 163.5, and the odds are
Melbourne $1.50 and Fremantle $2.59. So we've got a line of 12.5 as well, which we did speak about on our end-to-end. But I've got no bet in this game, but I'm going to wait for the teams to come out. But if I was going to bet, I'd either go a Fremantle 12.5 or I'd be looking in the big win, little win market, because I wouldn't be confident at going $1.50 at Melbourne head-to-head. I wouldn't think Melbourne would blow the team out by 40, so I'd be going Melbourne 1-39 at that 210 mark to try and get some more value there.
Yeah, most definitely, and I would be looking around the same sort of thing. The 150 for me is too short for how uncertain this game could be. Fremantle are a very defensive sort of team, and Melbourne are one of the teams that get the ball. I think they were second or third last year in inside 50, so they get the ball in there a lot. Fremantle being a defensive-minded team, it'll be interesting to see how they correct that. Last week against the Doggies, Melbourne weren't great in doing that, but you already know where my bet is, Pez. I'm keeping the trend alive.
Oh, he's going overs.
25 on the overs, 163.5. Again, that is too low for a game like this. Melbourne can pile it on, and Fremantle, whilst being a defensive-minded team, that's super low, I think. And you know what? I'm going 3 for 3, and then I won't touch the lines again.
What I will say, most dangerous one yet for the lines, but you're liking the 163.
I am liking those ones. All right, speaking about teams I love this next game, mainly because it's my Geelong Cats. Not too much about the football in this one. 4:30 start at Adelaide Oval. Adelaide Crows playing the Geelong Cats. The odds for this one, $1.25. The Cats are clear favourites, $4 outsiders. Adelaide. The line has creeped out a little bit further, so it started at 21.5. It's now at 25.5, and the overs are 173.5. So they might have already made that adjustment there. That's quite a big line there.
That's a big line for an Adelaide team being involved as well.
Yeah, most definitely. But then again, Geelong do have the potential to really pile it on, and that's sort of what I've been doing, Pez.
Cheeky.
Gone a little bit cheeky. Why wouldn't I start things off with my Geelong Cats? I don't like betting on my Geelong Cats, Pez.
No, that's why you take the opportunity.
That's why you take the opportunity with the cheeky. So I've gone, I say it's a cheeky, but it's not really a cheeky. It's a $5 one, and I've just put the line out to $5 odds. Where do you think the line would be sitting, Pez?
Oh, geez, at $5 odds, 64.5.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought too. It's 58.5, so I don't mind that one at all.
Not bad.
So $5, 58.5. Hopefully the Cats can get that done. And if they do win by 60 points, it'd be interesting to see if that 173 gets challenged.
173
it's very high.
Because if Geelong go out to a big lead like your predicting source, with the old bodies and stuff, do they just shut up shop a little bit, kick the ball around, waste some time? But
no, I think this has to be a statement game for the Cats. They've got this lot of talk over the preseason that it needs to be a premiership or bust. They've got their new forward in there. I don't know how Adelaide's going to deal with the tall timbers back then. They're not a defensive team at all.
What did I say during the footy? We were talking about Geelong's forward line, Hawkins and Cameron, and I said, has anyone ever kicked over 200 goals? Maybe Jeremy Cameron's the one, because Tom Hawkins.
Yeah.
What is he?
Number 1 in goal assist. Most unselfish footballer going around. You tried to tell me tonight that was Dustin Martin, but
well, what we can say about Dustin Martin, he's the best AFL player going around.
Was tonight not a 3-voter game?
Well, give him 4.
We should write this down for when we do our Brownlow special. The 3 votes, get that in the bag right now. That is a guaranteed $1.
Easy. Everyone knows that. And who else would get the votes in that? Nah, let's not talk about that. We'll do that next week.
Your man probably Bolter. He'd probably got to mention.
Oh, Bolter's not going to get the votes though. The defender, he played well. Shea Bolton in the middle.
I would probably, you're right. Defenders don't get it. Probably Bolton would be the second, and the third one
probably Walsh.
Probably Walsh. There we go. All Australian form. There we go. Looking good.
We umpires now. We're doing the Brownlow count.
Well, someone needs to do something. The umpires were pretty good tonight.
A couple of blues, but
nice pun. All right, let's get into the next one. So no bet for you for that one, Pez, I'm gathering.
No.
Waiting for the teams, waiting for some nice sneaky little player props, mate.
I know, I always wait.
Do you know what it was? Mitch Duncan's out, so you can't bet on your man, Mitch Duncan.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the Saturday night game. Very excited for this one. Marvel Stadium, 7:25 start. Essendon playing Hawthorn. This one has been a topsy-turvy sort of game. The odds have fluctuated both ways. Now we've got Hawthorn at $1.84 favourites, the line being 2.5. Essendon outsiders at $2. The line, again, very high, $1.70.5. So it might have already adjusted, Pez. But I can't see it. 170.5 is a huge line for two teams who are
at Marvel though, not at the MCG.
Yeah, but the two teams have been touted to be outside the 8. You know, some people have them in the bottom 4. Some people I saw have Essendon playing the wooden spoon. So 170.5 is a lot from two teams that aren't expected to do too well this year.
It'll also depend on how you rate their defences and things like that, and if they're going to be able to kick a big score with no stringer up forward for Essendon, no Patton down the other end or Wingard. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to be boring and say I've got no bet again. I'm going to wait closer to the game and have a look at that line. If that Hawthorn line stays anywhere down -2.5 and lower, and I see the teams and I like it, I'll probably jump on that because it's a toss of the coin game, a little bit of a pick'em, and the Hawks at the line possibly.
Yeah, I think it's really tough with pick'ems when they are, and you're uncertain about both teams, not only with the list but also the performance. And Essendon's list really hasn't changed, and they believe where their list is at the moment. That they've topped up a little bit in some young talent and some older talent, and they think that they're in the right spot to be competing. I just don't see it. Hawthorn, they're on the main of the rebuild, but they don't really ever rebuild. For me, a pick'em with two uncertain teams, I'm going to steer clear from that one, Pez.
Yeah, no, smart move.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Same as me.
6th game in and I finally get a smart move. Cheers, bud. All right, the other twilight game, or the other nighttime game at the Gabba, 1:45. The Brisbane Lions take on the Sydney Swans. The line for this one is 24.5, obviously in favour of the $1.21 favoured Brisbane Lions. 4:45, the outsiders in Sydney. The line for this one, I am actually shocked. It must be going in raining there. What would you say the line is for this one? I've really had a look.
The line?
Yeah.
I've got a bet on it. They're 24.5.
No, so it is the overs.
Oh, the overs. Because you said that, around 152.
150.5. It must be pouring with rain or something there. But if the weather's looking good, mate, jump all over that one. But you would expect that
at a nighttime
dewy. But I think that's still very reasonable I think Brisbane could possibly get that on their own.
Get that on their own, and that's really good for my bet source, because what I've done is I really love the Brisbane -24.5, and I've got Sydney as my loser pick in the loser comp source.
Spoiler.
No one picked Richmond to lose.
No.
So, everyone's still got a life.
There would have been some nervous people about third quarter time, or even that last quarter.
I think there was about 11 that picked up the Blues, and they're very happy because they can now watch the rest of the round and go I'm on to round 2 with my lives intact. But I've just chucked in a same game multi-source, no specials or anything. Brisbane -24.5 at the line. Then I've gone the halftime line. I think Brisbane will be up by 2 goals or more, so -11.5 there. And Brisbane to be the quarter time leader, it takes it up to $2.60 instead of the $1.90 you get with just the line. So if they're going to cover that 24.5, I'd imagine they'd be up at quarter time and up by about 12 at halftime. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, just be mindful, punters, on that one. It does look like it is going to be hot and rainy. There is a 91% chance of rain. It looks like it is thunderstorms as well, so just be mindful when you are looking at some of those bets and looking at some of those big lines that you do have a look at the market and ask the questions when they are so low. And, you look into, why is it 150 for one of the highest scoring teams in the league? So be a little bit worried about that one, Pez, in terms of the 24.5. We know that it can get very sloppy there. But in saying that, I'm going to go totally opposite because I believe that Brisbane can get the job done. 24.5 is a decent sort of line, and even with the wet weather, they should be able to do that. In saying that, Pez, still going to steer clear.
Oh, still going to steer clear. Well, my bet was the max bet. And just a little bit of a comment. We haven't posted the whole bet slip out on Twitter yet. But I've gone with the media manager, gone with the old Sydney Swans logo.
Oh, I like the new one. Get the new one in there. Don't be lazy. There's just sheer laziness. That's all it is, Pez. And you know what? If you hadn't even brought it up, I wouldn't have known because all I do is check the bank balance and see the money coming. I don't check the bet slip, but Pez, you're just being lazy. Get onto it, all right?
Look, it's copyright issues.
All you've got is one job.
Copyright issues in 2021 of the new logo. I don't know how I'm going to get past that.
Mate, you were using the old, what was it, the old Brisbane one for a long time. The old, it was basically Fitzroy's logo for a long period of time.
Get around it.
Get around it. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, speaking of getting around it, this is one of the absolute favourites of the pod. North supporters, get ready to have a great understanding of hearing your team right now. Pez loves talking about North Melbourne. We've got the 1:10 traditional time slot for North Melbourne. Marvel Stadium, versus Port Adelaide. The line for this one has reached out to 31.5, probably the biggest line of the round. In saying that, the outsiders obviously are North Melbourne, $5.10, $17 for Port Adelaide, and the line total over under for this one is 175.5.
Just had a look at that, 175.5. That's huge, especially for North, who aren't going to score too much. So they're saying the Power are going to kick 120 to get up there, but I think they probably can do that. I think I'd have to take the Power at the line with North's list and how they're travelling at the moment. Even North playing at home, there won't be too many people in there. If you want to go to the footy and you missed out on the sellouts of the first 3 at the MCG, you can get along to this one. Plenty of tickets left, so get along and watch the Power.
Pez doesn't
be
actually know that.
Team.
It's probably sold out like all the other games across the game round. Pez has just been a bit of a flog.
No, you can still get to that game if you want. Of course you could. It's North, mate, of course. I am steering clear of this at the moment, possibly a play on the Power at the 40+ later on when I see the teams.
Yeah, I think that's a decent sort of play, as well as North Melbourne have sort of demonstrated some glimpses during the preseason. They looked good in spurts against Hawthorn, just to prove that we did actually watch the preseason games. But North Melbourne just aren't going to be able to compete with Port Adelaide's list. They're going into this game with extra confidence, and I think the low crowd obviously will help Port Adelaide as well, because they were so dominant during COVID with no players, with no spectators. I actually really like the line at 30.5. I expected this to be a little bit higher, but it is round one, and it is a little bit risky taking the biggest line of the rounds, but I don't mind it. And as you said, North Melbourne aren't much chop. They're not going to win many games. And I believe Port have the potential to go all the way.
So what'd you get it at? You got it at...
I got it at 30.5. So minus 30.5, and I put 25 on it.
So it's 31 at the moment. You got it for 30.5 a bit earlier, and you'll take that. So if you want to jump on there, you're going to have to give up an extra point if you want to follow along with Source's bet. But I think the Power can get up 40+ anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. And I still can't believe it hasn't come out further out. I thought it would have probably hit the 35.5.
That's where I think it's going to probably end 35.5.
Yeah, it'll be interesting once the teams are properly announced and we see who Port Adelaide are going to fit on the field. But realistically, I can't see even Port Adelaide's worst side. I couldn't imagine that line changing much from where it is.
20-minute quarters,
yeah,
instead of 16 from last year. Dangerous for North this year.
Very dangerous, especially when you think of how quickly and how many arsenals they've got, Port Adelaide, in terms of scoring. They've got a decent sort of midfield. Boak was amazing last year. Can he keep that form going as a 33-year-old? I'm not sure, but even still, as I said, even on his worst day, he's still going to get 20 touches and get the ball down there.
I want to see the bow and arrow come out.
Okay.
It came out in the prelim.
Yeah, no, but we were talking about Boak and he just gone the older. Yep.
That's all I'm thinking about. How many times is he going to do it? 6?
Well, it was very successful. He wouldn't have done it for Clarko, I'll tell you that much. Yeah. He wouldn't have done it for Clarko. All right, the Sunday prime time slot at 3:20, Giants Stadium, GWS Giants playing your Saints, Pez. This one definitely has a topsy-turvy end. At the start of the week, you could have got the Giants as the outsiders at $2 and the Saints at $1.80, but now it has totally switched around with a couple of key injuries. 8 starters. 8 walk-up starts that you would have in St Kilda's best 22 are not playing in this game.
You're not counting Jaron Geary.
228 as the outsiders, 163 for the Giants. The line has absolutely swapped over. It is now minus 7.5 going towards the favour of the Giants, and the over-unders for this game is 158.5.
Oh, you by that little smile, you are including Geary in that 8, so take that down to 7, and there's probably one more player in there. Take that down to 6. But the Giants, Lockie Whitfield, massive. You've got Zach Williams, who's gone to Carlton off the halfback. Those two boarded off the halfback line. Heath Shaw's not there anymore. I don't know how they're going to run it out of their Source.
And Pez, you've got no bet on this game. Stop talking.
I've got a bet.
Do you? Oh.
Cheeky.
See, yeah. We both bet on our side.
Because there's not much risk. A little $10 cheeky there.
Just for our new listeners, explain the cheeky, because we were trying to explain it to someone before, and it's got to be a $5 odds or more, because it's one of those things that when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, that's a bit rich. It's good odds at $5, but it's one of those things that's most likely going to win, but you could sort of talk your mates into it. Go.
Most likely going to lose.
Most likely going to lose.
You there. But the reason we do it is because we just want to be a bit cheeky sometimes with a little bit of an excuse and a little bit of a freebie to do that. So I've gone a 4-leg same-game multi-source. I've gone Jack Steele to get 20+ disposals. I've gone Hunter Clark. Surely you got to play him in the midfield. I spoke about this in one of our episodes last year, and then Ratton didn't play him in the midfield the next week when we had lots of injuries, and he only got his 17 disposals. But I've got him to get 20. Dan Butler, Dan the man. he can get 2 goals on Sunday. And then St Kilda head-to-head at that 2.28 by themselves. That gets me out to $9. And I'll chuck that cheeky 10 on that.
Yeah, I think this one's a really difficult game. For me, anytime there is such a movement in the market when 1 or 2 players go down, I think that's really concerning to show how evenly matched the teams actually are and how much the bookies actually are unsure with. Not sure how the Giants are going to perform. They need to have a massive season. There's a lot of pressure on the Giants. St Kilda now with these injuries, there's a lot of pressure on them, but with all these injuries, they sort of get an excuse, and that's where St Kilda like to play. They're back to the wall, nothing to lose attitude. So for me, I'm steering clear because it just is a little bit too unpredictable for on my sake.
Yeah, it's hard without the ruckman for both sides as well. If Paddy Ryder was playing and you're still missing all the others, I'd go the Saints pretty easily, and I think the market would switch as well. But we head to the final game on the Sunday.
Yeah, we do. We head over to our favourite stadium, the 6:10 via Melbourne time, so probably about an 8:10 time slot over in SBS Stadium. West Coast Eagles playing the Gold Coast Suns. This one has not changed much in the weekend. I'm really surprised on this for opposite reasons to the North Melbourne game. West Coast $1.21 favourites, Gold Coast outsiders at $4.45. The line has stayed the same since Monday, -27.5. Really surprised about that one. The over-under is 175.5. Pez, what are you doing with this one?
Interesting. I looked at it early this afternoon. It went out to 28.5, and now it's back into 27. I've got a no bet because it's a Sunday twilight, and the trend will be over the season. I probably won't bet on the Sunday twilight game when we record this pod, but I will probably be jumping on the Suns at the plus here. The plus is just too much. I don't know how West Coast are going to go coming out, but I think the Gold Coast have a lot to play for this year. I've tipped them to make the finals and copped a bit of slack about it on our socials, but we'll see about that. And yeah, I'd go the plus. No bet at the moment, Sauce.
Yeah, I really love the line in this one. I actually messaged you when I saw this at the start of the week, Pez. I said, you cannot believe what the line is for this game. With all the injuries to West Coast and, the uncertain finish that they had to last year, Gold Coast looked amazing for 3 quarters against Brisbane. They looked good at the early starts of the year. And as I said, we know what Gold Coast do at the start of the season. They win games. They've been in this situation actually playing West Coast last year in round 1. In saying that, it was in Brisbane, or it might have been at the Gold Coast actually. It was before we hit COVID. But I've jumped all over the line. I've put 25 at 27.5 Pez. Love that bet.
Yeah, and fair enough. So that takes us through our 9 games in our Betslip Sauce, but we've got 10 spots in our Betslip. You don't want to go on an odd number. So we've always got a little multi to go on.
Yep, so a little multi. Normally I would be trying to find in some sort of market that has one of the specials with one leg failing and get to, but I was uninformed.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
I didn't hear the specials, Pez, because...
You didn't look at our Twitter?
No, I was too busy putting together our loser competition, actually doing some work for this podcast, so I was unable to jump on.
You've got to get on at Behind the Bounce Sauce before the first game. It'll be out there, the specials.
All right, so I stuck with sports bets for my multi. I've gone just a 4-leg. I like the 4-leg multi, and I've done the power player to build it up to 323. I've just gone 4 favourites, the Doggies, the Cats, the Lions, and Port Adelaide.
Oh, Doggies, Cats, Lions, Port Adelaide.
Yep.
I love that because I've gone a 5-legger.
And chuck Richmond in there.
First one's Richmond. I've gone the Cats head-to-head, Lions head-to-head, Power head-to-head, but I've gone the line that I really like, which is the Bulldogs -3.5 in there. I've put 25 on it. It gets me odds at $4.30, so a little multi. Don't love the odds of the multis and doing multis all the time, Sauce, but you put a little one in there for the pod and... let's hope everything.
Yeah, multis can be really frustrating if there's no special. Like I think if there was no special, I don't think I would actually be doing one for this because the podcast we require a multi because we know that it is a popular market. But just really be really mindful with multis. People try and load up on these massive, unrealistic multis because it gives you big odds, but you're more likely not going to win. So that's why they make it so juicy odds. Find what we're doing. Find some value. Put more money on it.
Start small. Start small. Build up slowly at $1.90 or a $2.10 or something like that, and don't go for the
the Hail Mary.
$50.
That's what it is. It's a Hail Mary.
And we've done Hail Marys before. We are the Cheeky Punt Podcast. We go a little bit cheeky sometimes, but betting companies and betting agencies, they want you to multi things up
100%.
because they get more profit out of that.
Yeah, that was really interesting when you told me that, Piers. Do you want to go through that briefly?
Oh, I can explain it. So usually if 2 teams, there's a line, say for the West Coast game, 27.5. both sides would be a $2 odds. But on Sportsbet, you get $1.90 for both sides. So they've got an extra 10 cents for both sides, whatever they bet on. So they've already taken their commission, they've taken their margin off that. And then if you multiply that with another line, another $1.90, their margin actually multiplies even further. So that's why they do the promotion source with the one leg fails and you keep going. Because they actually want you to multi up all these things. Bet365 have the 12-leg multi and you keep getting 65% discount. There's a reason why they do it. They're always going to win and beat the punters. So, steer clear of multis, and we've just gone through 2 of our multis.
Steer clear of multis unless there's like some sort of special. And as we said, it's not something that we would normally do, but it is something that we do for the pod. You know, we obviously, it does go towards our profit margin at the end of the year. Same with our Cheeky. We're accountable for our actions and we understand that does put a risk to our profit margin, but we believe in the rest of our system. So, you know, the multis out there for the fans.
Multis out there, but you know, you can
podcast for the people, Pez.
In the season, you can be profitable from
course.
multis. You can be profitable from the Cheeky as well. So you throw them out there and you go, you know, Cheeky's most likely going to lose, but if I win 1 or 2 of them for the season, it's probably going to cover me. You wouldn't think like that if you're betting with your own money and doing things like that. So
lucky we've got all the money coming from the sponsors of Amazon Prime, mate.
Amazon Prime
Amazon Prime. Make sure you get on there and watch the documentary there for the AFL. It is absolutely fantastic. Well, that's a 4th plug there, Pez.
And that's it. The Amazon Prime better get on board. But here we go. Before 11 p.m. on the Thursday night source, because of the 7:25 start. Great to have that one green tick on both our Betslips so far. Let's hope there's plenty more and we get in the profit starting off early. I've been Pez. Peace out.
I'm still Sauce. We'll catch up next time, guys.
Now you're gone.